Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome back to our NAREB North Texas chapter, Realtist Creating Pathways to Home Ownership. We have an awesome, amazing guest, actually, a couple of guests with us today. For some, they are no strangers. For others, you are in for a treat. We have Mr. Cholly Holmes. And Cholly, I know you get teased all the time about your name. Is it Cholly as in Cholly, the
I,
singer
s-
Cholly?
I say it like I spell it like we said, Charlie.
That's right. That's right. So we have a guru and definitely an expert in the home inspection industry with us, and his lovely bride, Miss Carol Holmes. I'm telling you, she is a jack of all and a master of everything that she touches. Miss Carol, it's an honor to have you
Thank
as the
you.
office manager of your home inspection company. And none other, we have Mr. Chris Ziegler, the principal, y'all. We call him that. And he is
Zig.
representing as a board member here for NAREB, leader in the community industry, and definitely, you're gonna have to pay me well for everything I'm saying about you, Chris. So definitely an expert and guru in his field. And we're -1 today. I thought maybe Miss Rhonda Hutchison, the lone lioness, would be here with us, but duty calls. So Rhonda rarely takes days off. I don't know if I can remember the last time she missed, but we're here. We're here. And so we want to just thank our president, Miss Laura Washington, for making this platform available so that we can inspire, we can inform, and we can educate and add value not only to our realtor and lender partners, but everyone that is a member here at NAREB. This is what it's about, putting everyone in position so they can lay hold of that dream of home ownership. And we're doing it together. It takes all of us. Before we get going, Chris, I'd like to ask you to open us up in prayer.
Most definitely. Let's close our eyes and bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we first and foremost thank you for letting us be alive to see another day, dear God, because that's just a blessing within itself. We ask that you watch over us on a day-to-day basis in everything we do and help us to walk a light and path through your Son, Jesus Christ, to exemplify Christian living here on earth, Father. We just thank you for the homes to be on the show today, dear God, to impart the knowledge that they know, because I've used them as well myself, Father, for clients and personally as well. And it have been a blessing, especially for my daughter when she's buying her new house, Father, to find some things that were wrong before she made that
Mhm.
purchase. And we just ask you to uplift and glorify anybody who touches their hands in the real
Yes.
estate field, and just to help NAREB to continue to grow, Father, and be a blessing to others on a day-to-day basis. Anybody who's not able to join us today, to God, we just ask you to watch over them and their health and their family, and to
Mhm.
navigate any trials and tribulations and obstacles that may be out there, because we know you're the true master and the master blueprinter of
Mhm.
everything we do on a day-to-day basis. These are blessings we ask in your son's name we pray, Father. Heal us and guide us. Amen.
Amen. Awesome prayer. Thank you for that, Chris. So, just want to introduce ourselves, and after myself and Chris introduce ourselves, Chris, if you'll introduce our speaker again.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I'm Roz Booker, principal broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty, and also the executive director of Arbrook Cares. Arbrook Cares is a 501c3 nonprofit. We help renters become homeowners by what? Linking arms and shoulders with those alliances, financial institutions, anyone that has the same goal and vision to help renters become homeowners. And we are right in the midst of a campaign for financial literacy workshops, which we'll talk about before we get off. But if you'd like to reach me for any of home buying needs, any educational needs, also one of the instructors at Trevelyan Academy, yay, Capri. She has some very innovative ways to teach, and she teaches with a twist. Very well known, recognized broker and professor herself. But if you'd like to reach me, my phone number is 972-996-4702. That's 972-996-4702. Chris?
And I'm Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas, serving the DFW Metroplex and the whole state of Texas. And I'm happy to be on here once again on a Tuesday to hopefully enrich people's lives and open up their minds on different things, whether it be home buying, insurance, mortgage, real estate. And of course, we got my man, Mr. Cholly Holmes, on here today as well. Inspections.
Yes,
Like I
sir.
said, you heard my prayer. He's been a blessing to me and my family and my customers. So I'm definitely appreciative of him from that standpoint. But if you have any questions in regards to any kind of financial products or home insurance or any other products that I have, just reach out to me at 214-870-4269. And you guys know my motto is personal customer service with a personal touch. I believe in education and what?
Consultation.
I'm really big on education and consultation because
Yes.
you don't know what you don't know, and it's free. And that's one of the things that's beneficial with the people that you have, like Roz and myself. We want to impart knowledge on you so that you can make the right decisions. Not to say that you have to go with us, not that we don't want you. We definitely would love for you to go with us, but hey, if you do decide to go somewhere else, make sure that you're informed about whoever you go with, you're getting the best thing. It
That's
ain't always
right.
about the price. I'm using the
Right.
ain't word.
That's right.
It ain't
That's
all
right.
about the price. It's
That's
about
right.
the coverages and things of that nature as well. So we definitely excited to have the Homes on here today. And without further ado, I do want to talk about Cholly and Miss Carol. I'm sorry with ladies first. Miss Carol is actually
Good enough.
a member of NAREB, both of them members of NAREB. She's actually the past president of the Women's Council of NAREB as well. And
Such
she's
an
on the
honor.
national chaplain for NAREB on the national level as well. So she is an awesome and a woman of God and a person
Yeah.
who helps me on a continual basis. I know I get on the nerves, so I'm gonna throw myself out there all the time to help me out with different stuff. So she's my go-to on different things that I do. I'm doing programs, and she actually helps me with my flyers that you guys will be hearing about later because I know I drive her crazy. Carol, can you change this? Can you do that? So that's my girl. These are my peeps, Cholly and Carol. And once again, without further ado, I'm gonna let Cholly take it away and let you know about his business and what he does. And I can chime in from an insurance standpoint and from a personal standpoint because these guys are awesome and I appreciate you.
You are our peeps also, Chris. I want to let Carolyn introduce herself first.
Well, thank you, sir. I'm grateful. I'm Carol Holmes. I'm the office manager for Holmes Inspection Company. We've been in business since 2004, and it is through my husband's affiliation through the NAREB community that it led me into being into real estate. So I want to give him credit for that because he used to take me to some of the NAREB Dallas meetings when I would, have some Fridays off or work from home. And I began to get the itch and the connections. And so that's what led me into, the world I'm in today. But we are excited about serving our community. And Charles is a solid inspector. He's been in it a long time. And I say he's the godfather or the grandfather or the senior in the industry. But people do trust his knowledge and his experience. And so we're just honored to serve today. And I'll let him now take over with his introductions.
Thank you so very much, Carol. I'm Cholly Holmes, Holmes Inspection Company. I am the owner and the chief inspector over here. As Carol said, we've been doing it now since 2004. And shoot, I'm getting some years under my belt, 18 years. Okay. I trained before becoming a home inspector. I always had attention to detail type job. I'm a Navy veteran, and while I was in the Navy, I packed parachutes. Not just your regular jump chutes, but emergency parachutes, ejection chutes. Either it works or somebody's gone. So I did that. I did that for 6 years, and after leaving the Navy, I went to work for Braniff Airlines, and I am an aircraft mechanic, licensed aircraft mechanic also. And I did that for many years because Braniff Airlines went down, and I went to work for Del Fort Aviation, but how I got my training to be a home inspector because I tried to use all of my my experiences as a aircraft mechanic to alleviate some of the inspection classes I had to take. but they didn't go for that. They say you have to have a background in construction, young man. And I was that at that time. So I got a lot of my background in dealing with air conditioning, heating, electronics, electrical, and all from being in jail. I was in jail for 5 years. I worked for Dallas County jails for 5 years.
Okay, let's clear it up. I'm like,
hey, I know y'all was thinking he
in.
looked like. Hey, I know y'all was thinking he looked like that. But no, I worked as a building mechanic.
Wow.
And operator for 5 years at Dallas County, and I worked with some of the most intricate parts of air conditioning and heating, HVAC system, chillers, boilers, air handlers, certain things that people don't even think about. And Chris, you was asking me earlier about commercial. That helped me to be able to do commercial inspections, because I worked in large buildings for 5 years. That's a little bit about myself.
Wow, definitely, man. You the Lamborghini of home inspectors. So we are very privileged to have you. So as a real estate professional, being out here like myself, Miss Carol and I, we're definitely in a market that is aggressive, and the importance of a home inspection. HUD tells us, for your protection, get a home inspection. And I just want you to reiterate, often a lot of things that a homeowner, especially a first-time home buyer, should be concerned about when purchasing their first home. I know as a real estate professional, Cholly, we tell them, hey, make sure the bones of the house,
Yes.
are intact, because we're emotional, right? And
yes.
home buying is emotional. And a lot of times the home reaches out and grab you. What are we looking at? The buyer, the granite, all the beautiful floors, the cabinets, they redid the showers.
Those light fixtures. Don't forget the light fixtures.
Oh yeah, the lighting. Oh, this is it. This is the one. And sometimes what you see is not what you get. So can you talk about the bones and the systems that are really important? I know it's all important, but can you just share the elements of what the bones are?
Yes, I sure can. The bones, pretty much what you're talking about, is the structure. Okay, the structure, which consists of the foundation, the roof structure, which is the attic, okay, the walls, doors, and so forth. Okay, but the foundation is very important in this area of this area of the nation, because we're on expansive soil. Those that are not aware of expansive soil, it's in this area. Once it gets wet, it swells, and as it dries, it contracts. It swells and contracts, which means that the house is moving pretty much all the time. The house is moving. Right now, your house is moving, but we can't see it with the naked eye. Okay, so I'm always serious about that foundation. You got to know what's going on with your head and your toes. So you got to go make sure that roof is in good shape. Okay, as I told you earlier, I even did an inspection on a brand new house, a new build, and the roof was in bad shape. So you really want an inspector to look at that roof. And there's times we can't get on the roof because the slope is too steep, but the state of Texas do authorize us to inspect the roof from the ground using field glasses or binoculars. Okay, so you really want a professional to take a look at these items. And you asked me, what are some of the most intricate items in the inspection? That we as inspectors look at the big five. Big five is
big five.
Big five. Big five. The
Write
structure.
Them down, big five.
Write them down. The structure. Okay. You got the structure. You got the electrical. You got the HVAC. Okay. You got the plumbing. Okay. The structure consists of two things: the foundation and the roof. Foundation, roof, HVAC, electrical, plumbing. That's them.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna chime in real quick too from an insurance standpoint. And he hit the nail on head on a whole bunch of areas. And I'm gonna talk about first, like he said, the foundation. We can't control the expansion or the contraction, but the thing is, you want to make sure that foundation with the, what do you call it, the tension wires or the cables and stuff, and everything are right and very supportive and done correctly, because that is going to happen.
Post-tension cables.
Even tension cable. So if you don't have those properly done, that's going to affect your structure. Most insurance companies don't cover the foundation for shifting, like he just explained. So you want to make sure that that is done. And I'm gonna tell people, I tell my customers all the time, because working with Cholly all these years, I tell my customers right off the bat. They said, when should I get the home inspector? I said, from stem to stern, from the very beginning to the very end.
That's right.
Because the thing is, once I'm not going to steal too much of this thunder, but like I said, from an insurance standpoint, like I said, with that foundation, if it's not intact and starts shifting and it's out of whack, that could potentially affect your policy. He said, like the roof, brand new house. If the inspector for the insurance company comes out and looks at it, like you said, a brand new house, they're not going to write it until that gets corrected. So fortunately, like I said, for a new home, a lot of times you can kind of, you're under warranty, but sometimes you're in an older home and you don't have those things checked out, you might bite the bullet on that.
Right.
So let's talk about foundation issues.
Yes.
And I've seen over the years home inspectors who feel that the foundation has moved or shifted unreasonably. I'll see comments such as this, Cholly. Advise that further inspection by a structural engineer evaluate basically the property. And give or take, that's pretty average. So tell us where your qualifications start and stop, whereby you would recommend a further evaluation. You see a problem that warrants a further or a deeper look. Where does your qualifications as a home inspector start, stop, and then you pass that recommendation on to a licensed professional?
Yes, good question, Roz. There's seven, we call them the seven sisters. You have to look at when you're evaluating the foundation.
Man, you got me. I got my pad and pen out today.
Man, hey.
Learning something.
Cliches is how I remember. Cliches. You want to look at the gaps around your doors and windows. Okay. You want to check the drywall condition. You want to check the brick mortar cracks. You want to check the mortar lines on the outside, floor level, and so forth. Okay, these are some of the things that you want to check. And now you can have some separation around the door and window, or you can have some hairline cracks in the drywall. And I still won't recommend that you see an engineer. But if you have excessive separation around the windows and doors, and you have cracks in the drywall, which is not at a seam. When I say a seam, that's where two pieces of drywall butt up, and you just got a drywall tape there, and it separates there. But if it separates in the center of that drywall, it's time for me to call an engineer in. And we'll consider us as real estate inspector, consider ourselves like a primary care physician. Okay, you come in and see your physician finds something wrong, he send you to a specialist. It cuts off. It cuts off with me right here. Okay, I'm gonna send you out here to this. What the engineer would do, not only would he tell you, yep, you do have some problems, he'll tell you to what extent it is.
Gotcha.
Okay, and let me make one more comment on the foundation. How we can slow down the movement of our foundation or our soil. Okay, is to keep it moist around the exterior of the home, using a sprinkler system or either a soaker hoses. A lot of people don't know what soaker hoses are. They're just little black hoses that they sell down at Home Depot. Go ask any of those guys in Home Depot. They'll tell you what a soaker hose is, because they know what area we live in. All right. The logic behind that is that in the center of the building, the soil up under the building, in the center of the building, it's moist most of the time because the building insulates the soil from the sun. Everybody with me on that one? The building itself insulates the soil from the sun. Okay, so it stay if it's still moist, it's still swollen up. Remember? Okay, the outside edges of the building. Okay, all right, it's relaxed like that. It's relaxed. And if you put water on the outside edges of the building, it raises everything up and kind of keep that foundation from moving.
Love it. I love the pictures. I love the pictorial illustrations.
Yes,
and
very good.
I'm sorry. One thing I was going to tell, because I had Cholly go look at some people's homes as well too, because depends on where that house is.
Right.
This area is growing, and sometimes what can cause foundation problems too. You might have seen areas where it used to be water there, and then a few months later, that water is gone, and then you just see dirt, and they kind of put all that dirt in there. I've had some customers that have had problems with that, and that's why I try to go out to check those areas as well, because I've seen situations where the foundation started sinking, because it used to be like, I call it marshland, where it was just like a pond or it was water, and these builders, they just putting all that dirt out there and compacting it, but over time, it can cause some sinking and stuff like that.
Yes,
so,
it sure can.
So what has your experience been with that?
Yes, I haven't seen a lot of that, but I've seen a lot of movement in certain parts of Oak Cliff, because certain parts of Oak Cliff is over there by Bonnet View and Fordham area over there. They're on top of an aquifer or something over there. And those foundations move pretty good over there.
That was my next question about foundation. Not trying to put a stigma on any area, but over the years, it's been pretty consistent that the Carrollton area has had foundation. A lot of homes that I've sold over there has had foundation issues. Has that been consistent?
That's consistent everywhere, Roz. If you don't have foundation problems now, only remember that soaker hose I just told you about? All it's gonna do is it's gonna slow down the foundation problems. Everybody gonna eventually have a foundation issues. Eventually, most people, I won't say everybody, most people in Dallas-Fort Worth will have foundation issues within 20 years.
Okay, so I know we're going to move on to the other components of the home inspection, but the foundation is we've already been taught. Ms. Carol, we would agree with this, that the foundation is really the most important thing, and a lot of people bag out of deals, terminate the contract because they saw movement, or the recommendation was that a structural engineer be called in. But can foundation work be done to correct the property permanently, or just a little while? Or is it like your body? You have to do preventive.
You have to maintain it. That soaker hose is one way of maintaining it. But that's why they give transferable warranties on these foundations. Can I tell you the reason why we have such foundation issues in this area?
Yeah,
you got
please.
time? Okay, back in the 1930s, I think around 1935, we overused this property for cotton. Okay, how they say the farmers supposed to rotate their crops, but they didn't rotate their crops. They just wanted to make all that cotton money. Okay, and they damaged the soil, and during the dust storm, all of our topsoil blew away. All of our topsoil blew away. So we don't have any topsoil here. If you're going to start a garden, you have to bring your own soil in to start a garden, because we're on that black clay. You ever hear them call it that black gumbo? Yes. That's the reason why we're in the shape we're in now. It's because the guys back in the 30s, they just wanted to make money off the cotton. That's what happened to us.
I have a question for Carol real quick. Carol, so you being wearing two hats, how's it impacted you being part of the inspection side and the real estate side? How each of those interchangeably affect what you do on a day-to-day basis?
So when I get calls from buyers, sometimes I can tell that they're nervous, because their realtor has given us giving them our contact info. And often they're nervous with regards to how this process works. And so I drop into, teacher mode to begin to say our role is to ensure that everything that is inspected, you get a good comprehensive report. And I tell them that, we cover all those things that you discussed, the structure, electrical, plumbing, and foundation. And even sometimes there's homes that we have a pier and beam foundation that he has to sometimes crawl in. He can't always crawl, but sometimes he can, depending on the space and the size of the crawl space. But I ensure them that they're going to get a thorough, comprehensive inspection from him, and that the reports will be provided with pictures to help them understand the deficiencies. I also have them come to the consultation, because that's critical for them to do the consultation to get educated on the property and the deficiencies that are identified. And then I also sometimes, some of them don't even know when their option period is. So I kind of have to drop into realtor mode with that to make sure that we're within the time frame of when they're supposed to have their reports and that service performed. I also help them understand, this is one of your greatest investments. So yes, it is important to do it, and don't shortchange yourself by, you know, um, you know, going after someone that may not provide all the services, because we provide all those services that are critical for the general home inspection and the termite. And don't let sometimes the cost of that be a factor when it comes to really going after getting it done. So I have to find myself not being their realtor, but kind of wearing the hat a little bit to ensure that they understand the process and that they feel comfortable that when they ask sometime, well, okay, how are you going to get in the house? I said, we got that. We have access to be able to make those contacts with either the listing agent, your agent, or the showing service, depending. We can handle that. And then the other thing that I do often, Roz, sometimes when we have a vacant property, I don't assume that the utilities are on, because we've had instances where they were not. And we've learned in the initial beginning of our company starting is that you want to check to make sure, particularly when you have homes that are built in the 50s and 60s, a lot of them still have gas. That's the one piece that's often not on.
Yeah.
So we call the listing agent, and I also put together a checklist and say, okay, these are the things, Mr. Agent, that we need to have in place so that when we arrive, the house is conducive and ready for our inspector to go forward. If these things are not, unfortunately, there may be a fee assessed to the listing side of the transaction for that not being satisfied. And that pushes people to really make sure that stuff is on, because they know there's a fee attached.
Yeah.
And so we don't like assessing that fee, but sometimes we've had to. But that is curtail that issue significantly more by being proactive, because we don't want to waste his time, because
Right.
that's a spot that he could have used for someone who was really all the way ready and had everything together.
Miss Carol,
Mhm.
I got a question. So in scheduling, Mr. Holmes, how much lead time, I guess, in a busy season, does someone need to provide you guys in order to get a home inspection completed, or does it just vary?
It varies. I often get calls, the day before. Sometimes people call us in advance of putting in an offer, particularly when they know they're going to select a short one, a 3-day or a 5-day, and see what our availability is. And sometimes, because if we got that good relationship with them, I'll kind of pencil what we anticipate in so that we can properly, plan. But we try to really be as prompt as possible, getting him out there next day if we can, if there's availability, or within a 2-day time frame. He works pretty much Monday through Saturday. We've done some Sundays on emergency cases, but typically we try to work the Monday through Saturday. And we really don't turn folks away. We look for ways to work them in, to be able to schedule them in so that we meet their needs. But we do like folks, if they're going to have a short one, call us in advance to kind of see where we stand on our schedule.
Now, Cholly, I got a question for you because I know
Yeah.
you do inspections in different parts of the state. Have you seen any differences in foundations or how systems work in different parts of the state when it comes to home building, or even like houses that are existing, or different parts of the state have different attributes that are different?
Yes.
Or would it be Austin? Or I know you go to Houston, different areas as well.
Yes, just different. The soil is completely different. Okay, down in Houston, they got sandy soil. You know, you don't want to put a soaker hose around your house. You got sandy soil. Okay, because you'll wash the sand away.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only that, even here in Irving, they got a lot of sandy soil in Irving. Certain areas here they have sandy soil, and a couple places over in Arlington area they have sandy soil. You can pretty much tell that areas that have sandy soil, a pine tree will grow in that area and will grow real good, real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lake Ridge area is an area that has
Foundation.
real tough, difficult foundation issues.
Yes, that I really wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
I'm finding a lot of foundation problems in Lake. Every house I've inspected in Lake Ridge has had foundation problems. Foundation. And you asked earlier, Ross, that you was asking to the extent of a foundation. You guys shouldn't let your buyers shouldn't let a foundation issues run them off from a deal, pretty much because, as I said, foundation issues is prevalent here in Dallas Fort Worth.
I'm glad you circle back to share on that.
Yes, because if you don't, as I said earlier, if you go to this house right now that have had foundation repairs, you're gonna want to make sure you get that warranty, that transferable warranty, because if you don't treat your foundation properly, it's a good possibility you're gonna have to deal with foundation issues there at that home again. See, okay.
So
did I answer your question, Chris? Did I answer your question,
Yes, you did.
Chris?
But I do have another question for you too, Charlie. One thing I've been kind of seeing here every now and then, and stuff like that. Are you running situations where these codes are changing? Can you hear me now?
You broke up. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Now I was just saying, from the insurance side, sometimes we run into situations here recently, sometimes building codes and things of that nature. Does that play impact, or do they change those much, or does it vary from city to city? How does that work?
It varies from city to city. That's why TREC inspectors do not quote codes, because Dallas might have different codes than Richardson. Richardson might have different codes than Frisco. Same with Arlington, with DeSoto. So we don't quote codes. We inspect per a standard of practice. That's what we have, our standard of practice, and we go by that.
So we won't see anything on the report saying this doesn't meet code.
No. If you see that on that report, you ask that inspector, "Are you a code inspector?" That's what you ask them. Because I had a guy called and called me and asked me, one of my friends, he's a builder. He called and asked me yesterday about an inspector had wrote up something saying it doesn't meet code. I told him to ask him, is he a code inspector? Because we're not supposed to quote code. That's one thing we learn in inspection school. Yes, ma'am.
We were talking earlier. This is a huge still seller's market. We're seeing investors get these homes, I'm telling you, out of the trash and fix them up.
Yeah.
And put a lot of lipstick on them, and boom, in the inspection period, it usually bombs. It's like, oh my God, what is this?
Yes.
They didn't do anything behind the walls. So what, Charlie, are some of the common things that are overlooked or you see prominent in fixer-uppers or homes that are fix and flip?
Number one is, we talked before we came on. The first thing is, back in the 50s, they didn't have grounded outlets. Back in the 50s, if you remember, older houses have two prongs. That third prong is the ground, for the ground. And you want everything in your house to be grounded properly. Not only do it protect you from getting shocked, it protects all of your appliances. of all of your electronics and so forth from being zapped. Okay. I see a lot of the times when you get by those older houses, they're piering beams, and I run a lot of water. I run a lot of water in those houses while I'm there, and I see leaks up under the house where, yes, where the pipes are not, the plumbing hadn't been repaired properly. I see some of that up under the house. Okay, and I see a lot of wood rot and fungus up under the bathrooms. Okay.
So
those are three of the big ones.
Older plumbing structures versus new plumbing structures. What was and what is today?
The best thing it's got going is today with that PVC piping. It's really good. They had that old iron pipe back in the day, and it wasn't the best. And they had galvanized piping. Galvanized piping, it would show rust over time. It would rust on the inside walls, and rust would be coming into your faucets and so forth. But the PVC and copper piping is some of the best piping there is. Copper piping is so good because it coats over on the inside with water running through it so long, it coats over. It builds up like a coating on the inside, and the water just flows through it without even bothering that coating. And with PVC, it's just perfect for what we do. And PEX, I like the PEX mostly because the PEX, when it freezes, it swells without bursting. It swells without bursting.
Spell that, Mr. Charlie.
PEX.
Okay, PEX.
Yes.
And what is
red and
PEX?
blue ones?
The red and blue pipe.
Yep.
Yes, red and blue pipe. You know what I mean? It's more like plastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So plastic that will swell and contract. You know what I mean? So it don't burst as frequently as the copper and so forth.
I'm gonna tell you, it's beneficial from, like say, I know when we had that freeze last year in 2021.
Yes.
Those houses that had that PEX, PVC. I think I'm not an expert, but I know that I learned a lot during that time about that PEX and the PVC.
Yeah.
I actually had PEX in my house, but some of the people, I had relatives that stay with me. They had, their house was older, and they had some of that piping like you were talking about, and they had some serious problems. I didn't have to worry about freezing or anything, so it did work out from that standpoint.
Yes, it does. It does.
Miss Carol, I have a question for you, and I would like for you to finish this statement.
Sure.
Qualities of a great inspector are
Her husband.
Sell the show.
Well, the qualities of a great inspector are someone that is passionate about the buyers and about the process. It's more than about the income and what they make. Someone who is wanting to ensure that the buyers are well informed, and that someone who continually studies in order to be able to share information. As you heard Charlie share about the 1930s and what went on and why our land is the way it is in Texas, that's important to know because it helps explain why you have such a different kinds of foundation and soil types throughout the state of Texas. You also want someone that has been in it a while, who's taught, and who has actually gotten a very good mentor. Charlie did have a very good mentor who took him under his wing at the beginning of his career and took him into areas of Highland Park where he got an opportunity to learn about the houses and the soil and the conditions of homes in that area. And so it's an all-encompassing individual, but it is someone who's definitely not afraid to say, you know what, I don't know that, but let me research that. But someone who I prize himself in being that go-to person in that resource. And he does that, constantly teaching me things all the time, which has helped me be a better realtor, even though that's not the hat I normally wear when I'm serving Holmes Inspection Company. But when I am in the role of a realtor, it has taught me a lot about what to look for by things that he's taught me. And when, like he said, when you see sometimes a crack in the wall, does that mean what it means, or what,
Right.
or is it just seasonal movement? Because when you start going outside and then inside and seeing jagged, real sharp cracks, then that's a sign. That's something I would have never picked up had I not learned that from him. He's taught me about this golf ball or tennis ball thing he'll do on the floor, and if you have one and you roll it and you can see it kind of slope down, that's kind of also a sign you've got some issues. So it's little tricks like that he's taught me. And one other thing I'll say, a lot of realtors, some of his realtor partners do come to the inspection, not all, but some do. And they all have said they've learned something by coming, and they've learned something from him with regard that they can now be more sharper when they walk into a house, not looking at the glitz and the glamour, but the functionality.
That's awesome. Very well spoken and said.
Carol, I know you teach as well at a community college. How much time do you spend on talking about inspections in your curriculum, or do you talk about it at all?
So I teach primarily the contracts class. And when we get into talking about the option period and what's done during the option period, we do cover the inspections and we talk about that. And we actually, have had students when we were we're more online now, but when we were on the ground, I would also give them extra credit to come to things like home buyer seminars. So some of my students have done that when we had some things on the ground a few years ago and got a chance to hear it and see it and meet the inspector. And but it is important for them to understand that process, because we never want them to forego it.
Absolutely.
We never want them to, and then we want them to understand the value of it, how critical it is for a person to get a home inspection. You don't ever want to walk in blind, and make sure they know that their job as an advocate for the buyer is to help guide them through the process. And this just is one.
Yeah.
You can't force a buyer, I say, but you do highly, with a big capital H, recommend.
Absolutely. Well, I think it is a perfect time, Chris, if you will go ahead and share a few of the announcements, and I would like to come back after Chris, Carol, and you share any announcements in any organizations that you are in or a part of, anything you guys have coming up.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and let Carol go ahead and go first. I always say ladies first.
Okay. So one of the things that I do know that's forthcoming for the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, they have a state conference coming up in June, and it's going to be the second weekend in June. I believe the dates are June the 9th through the 12th. And it is going to be held in Houston. I would like for folks to take an opportunity to go and participate in that conference. It's a great way to connect with your other partners here within the state. And then I also know that at the national level, there will be a national conference. This is a special one that is going to be held the first week in August. I believe the dates are August 2nd through the 6th. And it's going to be in Tampa, Florida. This is also where the NAREB community is celebrating 75 years of existence. So it's a really big deal. So for those that can, you shouldn't participate. And there have been lots of communications going out about it. I think the price right now is $5.99 for members and $6.99 for non-members to register to go to that event in August.
In fact, I'm a chime on that too. That's what NAREB was actually founded. They had the first meeting within Tampa, so we're going back home to where it all began.
Yeah, in the 40s. Was it 1948?
It's 47.
47.
Yeah. And Chris, you have some amazing things coming up. You're always in the community.
Well, I got a couple of good things going on right now. In the midst of doing the Ziegler Agency personal hygiene product, non-perishable food items, and cleaning supplies drive right now is going on now. And the final drop-off is going to be the 28th at my office. But we do have other locations where you can actually, drop off items if you can at 404 Whitestone Hill in DeSoto. That's one location from 12 to 4 p.m. on a daily basis. We have the Services of Hope, which is on Ellsworth Avenue, 5470 Ellsworth Avenue in Dallas, Texas, from 10 to 4 Monday through Thursday. And of course, you can come to my office here in Frisco at 8750 West Main Street. In Frisco, my zip code is 75034, and we're taking items every day from 10 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. So we definitely want, people to come out and to bring these items, from one of those locations, whichever is closer to you. And if, need be, if I need to even come pick them up, I'll do that as well. And you guys know, it's very important to me and big on my heart. I said my Allstate insurance agency, my agency is like my ministry as well. And I think we need to use the tools that we have before us to, expand into the kingdom. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and I believe we need to do that as well. I can always tell people, it's always good to do things at Thanksgiving and do things at Christmas, but people need help all year round. So I make it a special effort, concerted effort for 4 times a year, each quarter, to try to do something to make sure we further that situation. Yeah. And then I have something else coming up on next Thursday right here in Frisco. It's going to be the Ziegler Agency Spring Networking Mixer. So come one, come all, if you're in a fraternity, sorority, NAREB, anybody is welcome to everyone out there. It's going to be at Giddy Bar and Grill in Frisco at 4350 Main Street, Suite 165. It's a little bit west of the tollway in Frisco. So the times for that is going to be from 6 to 9. Come out, have a good time, network. And then 2, if you weren't able to bring those items during the time frame or drop them off by the 28th, for most definitely bring those items with you to that event as well. And I'm going to make sure people know about that also. And just ecstatic about all the opportunities that we have out there to learn from each other. In fact, Carol and Cholly, they're going to be some sponsors, and we have Restoration going to be a sponsor. We have Superior Air with Walter Pickney. He's one of the NAREB members as well. And then Shima's going to be one of the sponsors also. And then Community Title with Title Tina's going to be there as well. And just happy for those sponsors so that we can, like I said, further what we can do to expand our opportunities to, get more items for people out there.
That's awesome. Chris, we've partnered with your initiatives before, and it has been very, very rewarding. And,
I'm sorry, and NAREB as well. In fact, let me put that in there. In fact, NAREB is actually going to be doing a, membership drive during that time as well. I thought that would be a good thing for us to do. We talked about it on the board meeting. So we're going to do a membership drive. We're going to have a lot of people there who are not a part of NAREB. So it'll be a great opportunity for us to let people know what NAREB is all about and become members as well to further our initiative as well.
Yeah. So I got a couple of announcements, and then we are going to turn it back over to Mr. Cholly. As I mentioned in the beginning, I am the director of Arbrook Cares. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it's all roads lead to real estate, all roads lead to education, so we can inspire people. And it's one thing to get people in a home, but it's another to help people sustain and keep the home as well. And so, one of the things that we have done, we have set forth and launched our inaugural financial literacy workshop. So it was a 4-part series. We kicked it off with retirement and investments. And then our second phase was home buying, the 22 strategies to win the bidding war and purchase the home that you want. And third, on June 4th, we have actually Dorothy Ton. She is the branch manager of Comerica Bank. We have Mr. Chris Ziegler, Allstate Agency. We have Rhonda Hutchison with PRMG, the Lone Lioness. They will be talking about banking, credit, mortgage, and insurance. So those are definitely some major pillars. We would like everyone to grab a seat. It's going to be very, very educational. If you see the announcement here on the either Facebook page or you see it on one of our pages, would you please tag and share, because we're all in this together and we're all lifting while we climb. And I just appreciate your participation and sponsorship there. And as we know, this is the month of May, Mental Health Awareness Month. So it is a month for us to be conscious, even as entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs. mothers, fathers, nanas, papas, whatever the case may be. We got a lot of balls in the air. Let's take the time, number one, to be good to ourselves. Number two, let's pick up the phone. I know our digital age has made it very convenient for us to inbox and text somebody. Y'all check on somebody, because with the rate of suicide going like it is, people jumping out of their apartment buildings, young kids, barely in college, jumping out off of the Mississippi Bridge into the river. It's an epidemic. And so if we could just slow down a bit, take care of ourselves, retreat often, and be good to ourselves, but pick up the phone and check on somebody. Okay. So we'll get back to we get back to Mr. Cholly and the home inspections. I'm telling you, one of the things is I'm often asked, Mr. Cholly, is I'm buying a new home. I'm buying a new construction home. Do I still need an inspection? Because the city has already inspected, right?
That's the direction I wanted to go. You took the words out of my mouth there, Roz. New home construction. Okay, it's very difficult for me to make folks understand how serious it is that they need a phase inspection, a construction phase inspection. A construction phase inspection, consists of 2 inspections before the final. Okay, the construction, and most people, when they want me to do the construction phase inspection, they call me after the foundation is poured. You want me to see down there the pipes and all of the rebar and the post tension, as Chris was saying, cables, all that's laid out before the foundation is poured. Because the reason why you want me to see that is because you don't want any piping in contact with any rebar or any post tension cables. You might not see any evidence of deficiency for 20 years. But my neighbor across the street is dealing with it right now. Well, he just got it done, wherein the pipes under his house was in contact with rebar. The dissimilar metal, over time it deteriorates, and they have a leak, and a leak under the foundation is horrible. It is really bad for the house.
And doesn't that cause an upheaval? Yes,
ma'am. It causes an upheaval. It's trying to push it up in the center, from the center of the house. Okay, and you want me to come out and to do that? The phase inspection would consist of that one, and the pre-wall inspection. You want me to see them inside the structure before they put the drywall up. Okay.
What are you looking for?
I'm making sure all of the holes that's pretty much drilled in those 2x4s or those studs, I want to make sure they have the correct spacing. Okay. I want to make sure they're not too close to the edge of that 2x4. Okay. A certain hole is supposed to have so much spacing from each side of that 2x4. Okay. And I want to make sure they have the nail plates in place, wherein you don't nail, the drywall guy don't come in and nail right into the piping. Okay. I want to make sure that you have the studs are treated, the seal plate and the studs are treated along the foundation, things like that. I want to make sure the doorways and all of the headers are in position as they should be. So those are some of the things we're looking for, and we're looking at that. We're looking at the ridge in the attic, up in the attic. We're looking at the ridge and make sure we don't have any separation up there. Make sure they cut those properly.
So I want to pick it back on what you said earlier. You said a lot of people think that we got a building inspector coming out.
Yes.
They look at this, the general type stuff. They don't look at the microscopic. They even microscopic. It's big things, but they just look at certain things that they get to pass. It's kind of general type stuff. And that's what people think. When they came, the home inspector came, the city came out and inspected, but they just look at certain things. They're not looking at the grand thing. They just look at a few things.
Right.
Give you that green tag or red tag, whatever they're going to do, and keep it moving. They're
going to look. Charlie was talking. They're going to look and make sure that pipe is ran in that doggone trench like it's supposed to. But they ain't going to make sure that pipe is not touching the rebar.
Yep.
They're not going to go down looking at it like I would. Yes.
And you can tell Charlie what happens post, because like you said, he did it when my daughter was building her house. Everything was cool until the very end. You know, it was, a lot of it was cosmetic, but then they did have a serious little plumbing issue where what the water pan was, like he said, he lets the water run. When he first gets there, he turns all the water on all over the house and just let it go. And it was a shower in her master bedroom. And what was it doing? Just
what it was the shower pan leak.
Right, exactly.
Shower pan leak. Now that's very
wow.
expensive. That's a very expensive fix. Now that's a brand new house. Okay. What I do is I put my stopper in the shower, run water, and let that water sit in the shower all the while I'm inspecting. If I come back and that water's gone, it's gone somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
absolutely. That could be serious, very serious.
Yes,
and like I told him, in those situations like that too, Roz and Carol, and they know as well. And the reason I said do it, your house is under warranty.
right?
They're gonna fix it. But sometimes when you close, you can try to get that stuff done before you close your house. You know, this is a realtor because they'll do it, but sometimes when you close before that gets fixed,
It'll take them a while.
Yeah, they take their time.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah,
Well,
no urgency.
If you pay the escrow, once they get that dough, they'll get it done. But instead of it might be a couple of months.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
Miss Carol, how can one reach out to you guys for your service? What's the best method?
So the best method really is just the old-fashioned call. You know, we get people who text us, but the number to reach is my number, 469-360-6447. You can reach out to me and I will be in a position to schedule those inspections. Some folks actually can book them on the website, but most of the time, if they have questions or they want pricing or availability, they'll just call me. Some will text, and then we'll get them booked and scheduled, and then follow up with email confirmations to the buyer and copy their agent. And then, like I said earlier, a checklist type of email will go to the listing agent to ensure that the house is ready for us. Even when it's a new build, we still reach out to the builder to confirm, are you ready? Are things together so that we can come in and inspect? And so I make those phone calls too. So I do a lot of preliminary legwork. So when he goes, he's not dealing with the what if. It's already ready, and it's confirmed that it's ready for him to get started doing his job.
Awesome.
Let me touch on another thing with the new builds, Roz. On the new builds, our inspection pretty much is a mechanical inspection. We're gonna write up things that's deficient, that's mechanical. And on a new build, a lot of my inspection is cosmetic. Never cosmetic unless it's a new build, because when we go into a house, we expect the texture on the wall and the paint to be matching. Okay, we don't want it light over here and a little darker gray over here. It's supposed to be matching. So I do point those things out.
Gotcha. That's good to know. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you guys. You're very well respected in our industry and community, and it is very much an honor. That number and contact information for the Holmes is rolling across the bottom in case you didn't catch that number, or if you're going to come back and listen to the replay. Chris, would you share your information, and I'll end this in the round robin?
And like I said, want to shout out to my cohort, Rhonda Hutchinson, for not being here today, but Long Line says she's out there roaring, doing her thing. So just want to keep her in our prayers as well. She's just working hard, trying to do big things. But once again, I'm Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate. And if you have any insurance needs, I'm doing it from stem to stern. So give me a call so I can talk to you about it. And we do financial products as well, especially life insurance, which is going to be extremely important for the benefit of your family for years to come. And I can be reached at 214-870-4269. And I'm going to let it go back to Roz.
And I'm Roz Booker, principal broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty. We're a full-service real estate company here in the North DFW area. Also executive director of Arbrook Cares, our 501c3, where we help renters become homeowners. You can reach me at 972-996-4702. Again, 972-996-4702. Again, would like to just thank and share honor to our president, Laura Washington, for allowing this platform to go forth to be of value and educate our communities. We're here every second and fourth Tuesday. We say an hour of power, high noon, 12 noon. So come back, and actually the next show, we will have our very own Miss Laura Washington, and she is going to be talking about standards, real estate standards. So she's on the committee with Trek, and you definitely want to come back, tune in and dial in so we can know what's going on in our world, in the real estate world, and see how we can remain in compliance, stay out of trouble, stay licensed, and stay out of jail, y'all.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. That 5 years in jail wasn't good.
Awesome. Well, our time is up. That's all we have time for. Until next time, y'all be good. Be good to yourself. Remember, pick up the phone, call somebody. Mental Health Awareness Month. Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
very much.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Thank you, guys.